Before we get into this latest story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hell yeah or no? It's a no, so. If it isn't a hell yeah, it's a no. So goes the advice from Derek Sivers, a man who I guess can be described as a self-help guru, even if he doesn't appear to use that title himself. The books he's written, including Hell Yeah or No and How to Live, suggest the self-help sombrero fits well. On first viewing, I thought this counsel to be spot on. If one has doubts about engaging in something, it's best to follow one's instincts and decline. On deeper reflection, however, I began to think about the times the decision I took was a definitive hell yeah. Now, I may be guilty of recency bias here, particularly in this highly uncertain period I'm going through, but I couldn't think of any hell yeah decision in my life. Before any choice I eventually opted for, there was an amount of thought and much hesitation. Heck, I struggled to decide with peace of mind over what to eat in a restaurant, never mind the mental and at times physical chore of choosing one potentially life-altering path over another. Okay, my levels of indecisiveness may be higher than average, but I wager few people have ever made a decision with total certainty and confidence. Almost all choices come with pros and cons. Perhaps in Hell Yeah or No, sagacious Sivers expands on such dilemmas and helps the irresolute reader find the fogless way. I certainly hope he does. And no, I haven't read his work. I merely happened upon his advice via a post from another man with many answers, Chris Williamson, on the social medium formerly known as Twitter. X, that is. While I often wish I was more decisive, I do feel, in certain contexts, that there's a positive aspect to my regular uncertainty and hesitancy. Not immediately saying yes to something that is ostensibly great allows me to think about the downsides. Thus, one can make a more balanced decision. That's the theory, anyway. What's more, I do have a tendency to be a fault finder of sorts. And we do need people to point out errors. It's why, for one, we have editors and proofreaders. This is not to say that I'm an overly negative person. It's just that where some people are able to easily overlook the bad, I usually find this more difficult to do. Of course, there are obvious exceptions, such as imbibing. I know it would most likely be better for my overall health not to drink any alcohol, but I do like the occasional beer. It's not revelatory to state that few, if any, things in life are solely positive and beneficial. Take the sun, an essential giver of life and a great provider of vitamin D. Yet soaking in too much of it can hasten one's earthly demise in the form of skin cancer. In any situation, particularly where time allows, it's about weighing up the pluses and minuses to make what's generally described as an informed decision. So while a choice might not be an obvious hell yeah, the positives on one side may be sufficient enough to make it the selection that's, less hellish. Or a hell okay, if you will, to make it sound slightly chirpier. The idea is to be in as much control over this process as possible. We may be indecisive, but time doesn't pause whilst we make up our minds. We either make a decision or we do not, and not making one is a decision in itself. This is all in the context of those who can be deemed fortunate enough to have reasonable options from which to choose, the conundrums posed by the paradox of choice notwithstanding, i.e., where too many choices represent a problem in themselves. These what-to-do moments are dilemmas for many, yet others see them as a luxury they'd gladly have. So rather than endorse hell yeah or no, my more nuanced advice is to try to make a decision as quickly as possible, where possible that is, and once you've made it, don't dwell too much on the path not taken. With New Year resolution season upon us, think of it as aiming for a little less irresolution. Few things in this life are unalterable, after all. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If not, why not do so right now? It's free and only takes a second. Thanks!